Hold on, guys. I'm still getting set up here. I'm kind of being unprofessional.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was kind of messed up today. Like I was saying, I was being a little bit lazy, and I haven't cleaned up my house because I'm a guy, and as a guy, I mean, we're pretty much pigs. But that's okay. What up, guys? T-Toxin is back. Hello, beautiful people. I have Aris Zaffer in the studio today. How you doing, bro?
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad that you're here because we've had this plan for
like
a month.
A month or so now.
Yeah.
And I've listened to a couple more of your episodes, so I was
I
was getting into it. Yeah.
By the way, guys, really quick, I do want to get into it. Because on the flyer, I did mention that that he is a podcaster, musician, and a
actor.
Thank you.
He's like, there's a third one.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I made it. We have coffee here, which I really want to get into because I don't want it to get too cold. But if you guys are coffee fanatics, and if you guys like some like ASMR, like he gets in the mic and he explains this shit.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's really and the music.
If you just like history or just random entertainment.
I kind of feel bad that I stopped listening listening to it.
Yeah, but no, I honestly, it's all good.
You
I
get
haven't
into
gone
like
through your whole podcast either. Like
I don't
no
expect
worries.
anybody. Well, yeah,
I'm gonna eventually.
It's the fair thing. What did you bring for us, bro? Because like I said, I don't want this to get cold. So
Yeah. So it's a Guatemalan medium roast from somewhere in Illinois, I think, near Chicago.
Amazing.
My girlfriend got it for me.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But it's a Turkish coffee, so I made it in the Turkish style, in which you have a sev and you actually like boil it in there, and then there's coffee grounds in it. So I will warn you, pre-warning, a lot of it gets kind of settled in the bottom, so don't drink don't chug the whole thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
enough.
But it's probably one of the most pure forms of coffee.
Okay.
So since you mentioned it, I will talk a little bit about it. In my history podcast, The Complete History of Coffee, we actually find coffee kind of originates out of Africa and the Middle East. So the first coffee really that people were brewing, not just, eating raw cherries or whatever, was something like this, something where it was like boiled over a pot. And you can still go to the Middle East today and you can get a Turkish-style coffee.
It smells amazing. So if you guys do listen to Aris's podcast in the future, he will talk about it. He'll explain it. Take a sip.
Oh, he knows the steps. Yeah, you smell it. You slurp it. You got a little bit of grounds, didn't you?
I know. Yeah, I did.
Bit.
And then he's like, I'm getting this and a little bit of that.
What notes are you getting? I'm actually curious. What notes are you getting? You could say it just smells like coffee. I mean, that's fair. What do you get, though?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's see. When you smell it, because you get a lot more when you're smelling than anything, and that goes for beer, for wine. It doesn't matter. I get a little bit of roasty. I mean, it's coffee, obviously, right? I do know, cheating here, it's Latin American, right? So it's generally going to be nutty, chocolatey. So when you taste it, think that. Are you getting any of those nutty, any of the chocolatey? You might not, and that's okay. That's part of what we do in a tasting, though. Are we getting what we generally assume we're going to get?
It's so weird for me because I'm not a big coffee drinker, but when I do have it, I'm just like, great, it's coffee. I enjoy it. Yeah, I'm not oh
You're
my
not
God.
analyzing it. That's okay.
Yeah. But I understand what I'm a mixologist, so I know I just learned how to use what is it? Disaronno? It's like a liqueur.
Oh yeah,
very thick.
Yeah.
Fucking with those is a lot of fun. You taste and you're like, ooh, I get this and that. With coffee, I haven't fucked with it, so I don't know how to explain it.
Well, see,
honestly,
I just got into beer most recently because now I've been bartending at a brewery. So we have like 24, 25 breweries generally on tap. So
which brewery are you working at?
Tractor Brewery.
Tractor Brewery. If you guys want to say what's up, go say hi.
Yes, I love seeing people come in. I might even be able to get you guys a free drink here or there. I get a lot, and I honestly don't really drink that much. For me, I usually just do samples. I'm like, what am I getting? What am I getting my smell and taste? And for me, initially, like with the coffee, right? It's like, it smells like beer. Oh, it tastes like beer. I don't know, right? You gotta have to develop those.
Those like
senses.
like wine.
God, I'm
the first year of wine, I'm just like, it just tastes like wine. But now I'm like, that's too sweet. That's too dry. This one's too bitter. This one has more fruit. This one has more of like the dirt taste.
Okay, if I do another wine episode, I'm gonna bring you on because I'm over here like Smells like wine. Oh, it tastes like wine. Yep, that's wine.
This coffee is really good though. I do want to drink it before it gets like freezing cold.
And then,
and I kind of do need like the caffeine, to be serious with
I
you.
brought us some ciders from Tractor as well.
Blood
Orange is like the most popular one they have.
Okay.
It's not my favorite, but you know, like it's the most popular, so I figured I'd bring that for you to try if you hadn't already.
Thank you. I have not, but it's actually really good too because you get to sponsor them at the same time.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
Kind of works really
You're
well.
welcome, Tractor.
So really quick, Aris Zaffer, by the way, guys. Who are you?
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
Playing another guy.
So let's get into the basics real quick. Where were you born, bro?
Albuquerque. So,
Okay.
you know,
So
just up the
born and
street,
raised?
basically. Yeah. I actually lived in Santa Fe for a little while.
For how long?
About 2 years. I was actually just thinking on the drive over here. I was like, man, I can't believe I used to live here. Like, it feels like a different lifetime. It's crazy. It was just a couple years ago.
Why did you move back to Albuquerque?
Well, so I moved here for school. I was going to Santa Fe University of Art and Design, and then it closed, right?
So
then I was like, I don't know what I want to do.
Right.
I got offered some opportunities out in Chicago. I even thought about going to SoCal. I love like San Diego, LA.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, you know, I was dating someone. They were at UNM. It's actually my girlfriend now. We broke up and got back together, so like it all worked out in the end.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
I mean, those kind of relationships, they do last because of the fact that you guys been through the heartbreak, realize that you guys miss each other, and then it just works out from there, right?
4 years. We were broken up for 4 years.
What?
Like we didn't talk. I know we're getting into a total side thing right now, but that's some tea on its own, right? 4 years, yeah. We weren't really talking much more than like, hey, how's it going? Happy birthday, like a Merry Christmas, whatever, right? And then all of a sudden we're like, hey, you wanna like hang out? And then
it just
I don't know. It's kind of crazy. You know?
That's insane. I shout out to the relationships out there that take a long breaks and then come back together. It's a rarity. God damn it.
I didn't expect it, you know.
No one ever really does actually. And that's the best part of the relationships, you know what I mean? So born and raised in Albuquerque, lived in Santa Fe for a little bit for the School of Art and Design, which fuck you by the way. I'm so jealous. I wanted to go there. But it was too much money and I would have barely paid it off when in my
I'm still
early 30s. You're
not
still
paying it off. So
Nothing.
the government's subsidizing it right now, so I'm gonna hold. We'll get there.
Fuck it.
One
I
of
mean,
these days.
the school system is kind of fucked up. So ever since you moved back to Albuquerque, how has that been? You went to school here, closed down. You went back to Albuquerque.
Yeah, so UNM was great. I ended up going to UNM. Got 2 bachelor's degrees, one in history, which I wouldn't have got to study if I was at an art college.
Cool.
You know, and then I still ended up getting a degree in acting. So ultimately, like, that was fine. I was working at Starbucks before I moved, continued to work at Starbucks after I got back.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that just kind of felt like a continuation.
And it opened doors for you, right?
In some aspects. I think, though, what was interesting is after I graduated, I had this moment of, like, what am I doing now? What am I doing with my life? I don't know. What do you think of the blood orange, though?
It's so smooth. So nice.
It's not bad, huh?
Like, as soon as you start drinking it, it's like a soda. It goes down really smooth, and then as soon as you swallow the last bit of it, the alcohol barely kicks you. Like, it's right in the back of the
tongue. Not a whole lot.
It's really good, actually. So, out of curiosity, while you were working at the Starbucks, was it the first time that you were working at Starbucks that started your love for coffee? Or what was it?
I'm going to be honest with you.
Was it just
I worked
recent?
at Starbucks for maybe 5 years before I grew a real appreciation for coffee. Because
That's
everyone
okay.
kept being like, you're going to like coffee, like you work here long enough, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I still don't drink coffee. I'm still likely to get a tea. Like, on my way over here, I got like an iced chai. You know what I mean? Like, I still am like, let me do like a black tea or something like that rather than a coffee.
You're simple.
But I like tastings. And that's where I'm kind of getting with beer. I'm still not a beer drinker. But I
Not
am
yet.
like, oh, you know what? Not yet.
No, you're gonna continue.
But I don't know. I can appreciate being able to pick up notes.
There you
something
go.
that maybe a lot of people wouldn't be able to appreciate, like you were talking about with coffee. You're just like, oh, I just drink it.
Right.
But, you know, listening to even a little bit of the podcast, I'm sure you're like, oh, man, there is more to this. There's stuff you can pick up.
The way you explain it and be like, oh, I would love to taste that. And then I taste it and I'm just like, it tastes like coffee. But because
that's fair.
I'm untrained, because we are untrained. That's like the weirdest part.
I know exactly.
But it's actually really cool that you got into it because I don't know that many coffee fanatics.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that can tell me a lot about coffee except for you. And then you give
got
you break it down into like this whole history thing, and then you put like goats in the background.
Oh, the goats, yeah.
Oh my god, it's so fucking priceless.
I found
really
a way
do
to
love
get it into this newest beer episode. So whenever you finally get to the beer episode, there's a goat coming.
Okay,
It persists.
I'm
It
happy with that.
persists.
Holy shit.
So let me go from there then. So ended up being like, what am I doing with my life? Right? I graduated. Stayed at Starbucks for a little bit, but at that point, I started looking at other stuff. I actually worked at Pinon Coffee for a little while.
Pinon Coffee?
Yeah, New
Okay.
Mexico Pinon Coffee. They don't pay minimum wage, so I was ultimately like, I'm gonna not work there. And then eventually, I found my way into teaching with music. So did that for about a year and a half.
Teacher, actor, podcaster, musician.
I don't consider myself a teacher, to be honest with
no?
you. I never wanted to be one.
Mm-hmm.
It was just something that kind of fell in my lap, and it was okay at the time. You know, I'm not gonna say I hated it. I didn't dread it or anything like that. The kids were hilarious, and I loved being able to see them perform and grow.
What age group did you did you teach?
Middle school.
Middle,
Well,
okay.
and a little bit younger. So it was kind of like, generally I was doing middle school over the summer. I would do a bigger program, and it would be like elementary and middle school.
Oh, okay.
So well, most of those kids never played music before.
Okay.
You know, they might not know the difference between rock and pop or a guitar and a
Right.
piano. You know, so you're working with
True.
people that are at that level, and then maybe some people that had some experience might be able to sing or play a little bit.
Okay.
But it's exciting, you know. You're able to like kind of start from assuming you don't know anything to by the end
Yeah.
of the semester, the end of the year,
I,
a big
actually,
performance.
Ugh, I know. Good times. Or weird times. Because then you have the kids that don't care about the class, and then they just play the wrong notes, and it just sounds terrible.
And that would kind of drag the class down because they're just dragging their feet, and it's like, guys, like we could get so much done.
I remember being in guitar class in middle school, and these idiots were just fucking around. I'm like, bro, I want to learn how to tune my guitar. Shut up. It was like the most annoying thing, but I mean, kids are really hard to deal with sometimes.
I remember I was taking Guitar 1 when I was in high school. They didn't let you skip, right? So I started playing guitar when I was 6.
Ugh.
This might have been a later question.
Oh, that's fine.
But I was like, here I am, sophomore, I think, junior in high school. I'd been playing for, what would that be? At least like 10
Since
years
you were 6?
by that
Yeah.
point. And I'm like, seriously, we're just learning how to hold the guitar? Like, I know which way the neck needs to go. Like, can we...
Did they teach you to put it on the left side or on the right?
I didn't pay attention. I'm going to be honest with
Oh,
you. My
that's
guitar
fine.
teacher, though, left. You put it
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, that's.
But he was very classical. Like, he'd have, like, the footstool and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, he got his master's at UNM in the classical guitar program. So, like, of course,
He was a pro.
he was
pretty
teaching you
much.
how to do it that way. And I took lessons from him, Daryl Dominguez, for
Shout out.
like 12 years.
Mhm.
Phenomenal teacher, especially for kids. He's really great with kids.
Takes a skill to work with kids.
So then here I am in this class, though, right? And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I just want to play. Can we play? Right? Like, nope, you can't skip into I just 2. I'm not saying guitar 3 or 4. Just
Next
at least
one,
2.
please.
Can we at least go to 2?
I mean, just like shred for him. Be like, I can move into the next one. Like,
Right?
prove it to him.
Yeah, I don't know. They had this dumb rule. Everyone had
I
to do
know.
it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do like 4 years of this, so that's okay.
I know what you went through because I went through the exact same thing. And then I started playing guitar, and I started just self-teaching myself, and it actually became pretty amazing. Other than guitar, what other instruments do you play, though?
Ended up starting piano in high school. I took some piano classes,
Sick.
and then in college continued with that. Tried to learn violin in college. I had to learn a secondary instrument that I wasn't already familiar with.
Uh-huh.
So I wouldn't say I'm phenomenal at violin, but I've played
You
it
tried.
here or there.
Yeah.
Ukulele, I taught myself when I was in Hawaii. Actually, I just picked one up, and
that's the spot to go.
I love playing the ukulele. It's such an
It's such a cute
easy
little-
instrument.
Which one did you play, though? The soprano?
Oh,
the-
so initially, I want to say it was probably like a tenor, but I ended up buying myself a concert. Like I
That's
wanted
the
a
small-
nice one.
That's a smaller one,
The
right?
concert one's a little bit bigger.
Bigger one. Okay, I forgot. I was
I'm
gonna
thinking
buy
maybe
one.
the tenor's even bigger. No, I don't know. I had the small one, which I don't think was a soprano. I think it was a little bit bigger than the soprano. I could be thinking the soprano. I'm not an expert
Yeah,
on
I know.
ukuleles.
I was gonna buy one, and I just went like through a whole.
I know they
list.
have a baritone too, though.
That's the one that I thought was the largest.
Oh, that's a big one. But it's also tuned down, so that's why I just went with a concert.
That's right. It's tuned the same as an actual guitar, isn't it?
That sounds right. Probably.
Yeah,
I haven't played one.
probably.
I don't know.
Let's see. Anyways, really quick, going back into your past as a kid, let's get to know you a little bit better. While you were growing up, born and raised in Albuquerque, did you have siblings, or are you an only child?
My little sister didn't come along until I was almost 15. In fact, it was my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
So big surprise, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
basically grew up as an only child in many regards, but for the last 10 years now, I've been a big brother. So it's interesting because I definitely couldn't imagine my life as being an only child.
I mean,
Like, she's so important to my life,
Yeah. Do you have the only child syndrome?
I've tried to ask this, right? Because my mom says this about my dad,
Ooh.
who has older siblings, but it's a big age difference, right? And I'm like, do I
Kind of
have
like
that?
similar
Like,
with your sister, right?
like, do I also have that a little bit?
Do you have those traits?
And then she's like, no, not as bad as your dad. So I don't know. She didn't say no, right? She's like, not as bad as your dad. So
she's
then I'm
being
kind of
nice.
I'm like, I don't know, maybe. But I also feel like maybe not, just because there is that aspect of my little sister. Even though it was a little bit
Right.
later in my life, I really feel like that has sort of changed stuff for me. I don't know. Hard to say, because it's me, right? I would need an outside perspective on that.
Yeah. Good point, actually. Yeah, because you actually need somebody to be looking at your actions rather than thinking to yourself, because it's self-evaluation is kind of
Yeah.
So most of your life being an only child, having your sister, is your sister musically inclined? Is she into other things?
I would love for her to be musically inclined.
She's
and I've
10 years old, correct?
Just turned 11. Just turned
Oh,
11
okay.
in December.
Happy birthday, little miss.
I've tried to work on music stuff with her, both just for fun, but also like she was taking music in school or whatever.
Right.
And it just usually doesn't always work out too well. I feel like I don't have enough patience with her specifically. I don't know why, right? With all these little kids,
Yeah, I
all the
was
middle
like-
schoolers, I'm like, yeah, dude, like that's fine. You don't know what you're doing. Like I'll be super patient. And then with her, it's like we're related. Like you should know what you're doing.
Ugh,
I don't know.
you're kinda
So I
hard on
very
her.
much so already know. I'm like, I can't teach my sister, and especially math. God forbid. If I have to tutor on math, someone's crying. It's either her or me. It's not good.
I mean, math was my least favorite, so I can only imagine the stress that you would
Oh,
go
same.
through.
Same. My girlfriend's a math teacher though, so I still get it sometimes. But I'm like, oh, math.
And then she's like, "Come on, I know you should know this." She's a hard ass on you, I bet.
Not too bad. She
Not too bad.
understands. But it's the same thing with history, right? Because she's like, and I'm like, babe, listen to my
Come on, it's
podcast.
good.
Stop falling asleep. Like I know it sounds like ASMR. It's not supposed to actually put you to sleep though.
It's kind of nice though. I mean, I used it to work, so like while I'm vacuuming, I'm just like,
There
Oh,
you go.
really?
There you go.
huh.
damn,
Like the
bro.
goats, dude. I was up at the top of a mountain just vacuuming these rock walls. The floor I was vacuuming.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the rock walls, and you're talking about how a gentleman opened up his own business with coffee, but it was such a fight because the president or the
I don't remember. I'm excited to hear what I said though.
like you were basically explaining that the person that was in charge of the land was like, no, coffee's bad. Coffee's very bad for you.
I mean, that happened everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Was
well,
there was a goat sound though?
Yes. Well, not in that episode specifically.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, I heard it, and I turned around. I'm like looking for a goat or something.
It sounds really good actually when you're listening to it, so it's actually pretty priceless. So growing up with your little sister who's now 11, happy birthday. How was it with your mom and dad? Are they musically inclined? Are they more of the smart type? Are they more of the artistic? And I'll be honest with you, just explain to them. I gotta blow my nose because
Oh yeah, you're good.
allergies
I
kill
will
me.
Continue while
Like
you
yeah,
go do
yeah.
that.
Keep them entertained.
Or I'll just stare at the camera. So my family's not specifically musically inclined. I would say my mom played a little bit of piano. I think before I was even born. But my dad never played anything. So I think I got at least maybe a little bit of like genetic material from
At least
my
a little
mom.
bit.
But overall, no. I would say smart though. My parents are both psychologists. You know, they're just
Ooh.
both like
Okay.
on all that stuff. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff that I take for granted as general knowledge. A lot of times people are like, "That's a big word. Like I need to look that up," or "That's not common knowledge, Aris." And I'm like, "This is just like dinner talk at my house. Like I don't know. Like okay, I guess not."
Like you try to relate to it, but then you're like, I have no idea what to say. Interesting. I like hearing it, but I have no input. I'm sorry.
And you know, honestly, with psychology though, I feel like my parents being therapists drove me away from it. I was like, I never want to take a psychology class. I get enough of it every night.
Yeah. Like, oh my! I can only imagine. Like you're upset and you're like throwing a fit, and they're just like, Aris, you're only doing this because of this and that. Like, don't explain my anger,
You know,
okay? I can only imagine.
Much, not too much.
Okay.
Although my dad sometimes would be like, "Can you feel that tension in your body? Like, you must be like shutting down because you can't feel that in your body. You have so much tension in your body." Usually, they didn't do that. They did occasionally. My dad mainly, but generally it would be more like my friends did this thing. I'm telling my parents, right? And they're like, "Oh, well, let me explain to you why your friend is acting that way." So it's more like psychoanalyzing other people in my life, which, for better or for worse, kind of gave me a different perspective.
Okay.
Right? It's not like I'm still not going to be upset that they did it, but maybe I won't take it personally. It's like, okay, it's part of their upbringing. They had whatever trauma, this or that.
My only concern with that is, like, then you would get to the point where, this is just an assumption, like, you're a kid and you go through this with your family, and when somebody else does something that upsets you or that is just out of hand, you're just like
you're trying to psychoanalyze them?
Yeah, like
sometimes, not too much.
I know you, bro. Like, I'm in your head. I know what you're thinking. Come on, like, stop being a bitch.
It's like all the people that are like, yeah, I took Psych 101. I basically am a psychologist now.
Yeah, I know a lot of people out there that do that.
Yeah, see, I try not to do that, though. Just for that very reason. I'm like, that's not my thing, so I'm just going to...
Totally understood.
But sometimes it's also very, like, blatantly obvious. Like, oh, you're bipolar and you're really manic right now. Like, they don't even have to tell you. You can just kind of read that, you know, something like that.
Yeah, but I would assume that's more of like a... just a natural human understanding type of thing, right? Like, but at the same time,
maybe some people don't.
Yeah, no, you're right. We're getting off topic.
Yeah,
we need to be talking about you. Who the fuck are you, bro?
Both a little ADD, and then we go on these little tangents.
Yeah, and the caffeine is probably kicking in, so I'm just like,
okay, where did we leave off? Let's see.
Well, I was asking about your parents.
The teaching thing, right? So eventually that came to an end. I was subbing for a while, so technically I still could go back in and. Can
you still now?
Yeah, if I wanted to.
You wanted to?
They ended up finding a replacement for me. I mean, I let them know.
Right.
I initially actually this year was planning on still teaching, but right before the semester was going to start, I got offered a full-time gig working in film. So for about the last 2 years, I've been working in film. I've been doing a lot of background stuff and then a little bit of stuff with like stand-in. But I got offered full-time with a show called Obliterated. I don't think it's come out yet, but it's a Netflix, Sony production. And it was like...
Obliterated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Think, I don't know if you've seen it, Archer, but like live-action Archer. It's sort of like in that vein. So just, it's comedic, ridiculous. It's kind of
the
got
cartoon
that,
Archer?
Yeah.
With the guy that has like the same voice.
I haven't watched a lot of it, yeah. It's like action comedy.
Yes, okay.
So
I've never seen an episode, but I know of it.
They offered me a full-time gig as a stand-in, meaning 5 to potentially 6 days a week, 8 to 16-hour days. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to teach. Like, that's not going to be able to happen.
Impossible.
So, I had to call my boss, and I had to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like,
sorry, but this is more important.
Like, I could still sub, and that's where the subbing came in, right? He was like, oh, yeah, for sure. So, like, if we were shooting really late at night, like, I could go sub for the day. Or if we... shot potentially super, super early in the morning, like 3 a.m, right? Like, I'd be off, I could still go in. Just depending on whatever the shooting day was.
Right.
So that was kind of my next shift, right? So I kind of shifted Starbucks into teaching. I was doing both at first, and then I was like, I'm just going to teach. And then it was like teaching into film. I was like, I'm just going to do film. So then that ended. Let's see. I did a little bit of stuff for Big Sky. I also did season 2 on Big Sky, so that was last year's.
Big
stand-in
Sky.
for that one. Yeah, it's an ABC production.
ABC. Okay.
So that was mostly background.
I'm
I did a
gonna
little
Google
stand-in on
this
that one.
stuff. I'm curious. Oh, there's Aris.
You'll see a lot of my butt. I don't know why, but that they get a lot of Aris butt shots.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, ladies, if you actually no, he's taken. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, get away. His girlfriend will kick your ass.
She's in Thailand, but she'll fly back over.
Oh, she's in Thailand.
She is.
That's a big deal. What's she's doing there? If you don't mind me asking.
She's teaching. Math teacher over there at an international school.
Right. Okay. When does she return?
I don't know. We'll see. She's on a 3-year contract. She's looking to maybe work a little bit longer as an admin or something. So maybe a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer.
That's a big deal.
So probably
yeah.
sometime in the next 3 or 4 years, I would assume.
In the next 3 to 4 years, she'll come back.
We
Your
hope
girlfriend
so.
will come back.
We hope so. She's gonna watch this and she's gonna be like, "Oh my goodness."
I've never heard of a situation like, oh yeah, I love my girlfriend. We got together and it's so lovely. Where is she? Thailand. When are you gonna see her next?
Right. Well,
I don't know.
Most people assume too. They're like, "Oh, so she's Thai? You're dating an Asian girl? You found her online?" I'm like, "No, we met in person."
Yeah. And she left to Thailand to
Yeah.
teach. That's actually a really big deal.
Honestly, she's the best. She's also kind of low-key like a sugar mama because she makes a lot of money out there, and it's super cheap to live out there. She has her apartment paid for. She doesn't have a car, right? So she just makes money. So
But she doesn't really need
I'm over
it?
here oh, man, I really want a milkshake. I'm just saying this out loud, right? And the next thing I know, Venmo's $10. And it's go buy yourself a milkshake.
Sugar
Right?
mama.
I'm like, okay.
That's how you know she loves you.
I know.
Are you gonna marry her?
I hope so. We've been talking about it, but I did tell her,
Okay.
stipulation. You got to be in the U.S. first.
I was gonna say you need some some stability.
Yeah.
If we're gonna get married, because come on,
a
bro.
13-hour time difference is a little rough.
But what if you have to go to New Zealand to shoot for?
Or Thailand. They actually have a Netflix. I don't think, maybe not a studio, but they do Netflix productions out there. I mean,
I'm
who
not
knows,
surprised.
You know?
It would be really nice if you can go out there. Actually,
Thailand is great. I highly recommend it. It was not on my
Beautiful.
bucket list in any way, shape, or form.
And
I
now
would have
it
gone
is.
to a lot of other Asian countries,
and
I'm so glad I got to go.
so you did go to Thailand?
Yeah, for a month.
Nice.
It was
With
so great.
with your girlfriend?
Yeah. I got to basically just stay with her. She paid when we flied out to northern Thailand to Chiang Mai. She lives in Bangkok, though, the big city.
Bangkok. Okay.
Great country.
Is that? Yeah, it is the city that
What are you
the
thinking?
Hangover.
Oh, Hangover, what, at
Bangkok
3?
has him now,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
that's the city, Bangkok.
Okay.
It's super cheap. You can just get around and you can do so much. I started doing Muay Thai when I was out there. I never really
Nice.
done martial arts before,
Uh-huh.
and now I'm doing MMA. So it was it kind of
Oh
started
shit! What?
that for me, you know.
Well, guys, if you guys want some extra footage, go onto my YouTube. We're gonna be wrestling after this podcast.
Ooh.
No. I'm too broken. I got too many broken bones and everything. So we got into the podcast. We got into your coffee. We got into your acting, your music, like you yourself, because I know that you write your own music.
Yeah.
Have you been a part of any bands? Have you constructed any of your own pieces? Can we find any of your pieces out there? What is the information that we can have about your musician side?
So, as I mentioned, started playing guitar when I was 6.
A little piano.
Got into piano. Drums,
Violin?
actually, for a long time, I loved drums. Was actually the drummer in a band for a short while. So let's answer
Gnarly.
that. The band question. Let's see. To date, I'll say I've been in 5 or 6 bands.
5 or 6.
Well, I was a drummer though in an indie folk band.
Okay.
If that tells you anything.
It tells me you have rhythm. That's the only
Yeah,
thing
it
that
was
I have.
fun, honestly, because most of the time I found myself not playing just hi-hat, snare, kick. I was doing a lot of toms and stuff. I actually brought a cajon for a little while because we do a lot of acoustic stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it
was
was
always
a nice
available.
variety. It's not really what I listened to, so I had to kind of get into it. At the time, I was dating someone that did listen to it, so I was exposed to it enough that I was okay,
Yeah, you're kind of obligated to like it now.
and I kind of get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So for most of high school, a lot of college, I was doing a lot of punk bands, like punk
Uh-huh.
rock, pop punk, stuff like that. Me and my best friend growing up, Dominic Sycade, he's still out there making music. So
Sick.
we would do, trying to think, we had Caught Red-Handed. That was one for a while.
Nice.
And then
That's a good
we
name.
had Everyday Action Heroes.
Everyday Action Heroes. That's
yeah,
a good one.
Yeah.
I like that name.
So and our theme would be like wearing like superhero T-shirts, right?
I like that. Like a shirt with Superman. or the
Something
Spider-
like that. Something like that.
Totally get it.
And then let's see. Eventually, I tried to start another band. I didn't really count this on the list though, because we didn't end up playing anywhere. It was really
Unfortunate.
just a garage band, but it was fun. It was me and some of my friends, and that was kind of my first time doing rock. I mean, not
Okay.
playing it at all. I've grown up listening to it, so of course I've done a lot of covers. But I should say like writing. That was my
Okay.
first attempt at really trying to play in a rock band, trying to write that kind of music.
Understood. Yeah.
And then that led me into more metal. As time went on, right, you kind of like start shifting down that. And you're
Yeah,
like, okay,
you
let's
can't
get
go wrong with
heavier and
metal.
heavier, right?
Mhm.
Like a lot of like punk music, right? It's like, ooh, drop D, like that's so low. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I need a baritone so I can do like drop A, drop G.
My God. Gets
So
into
that
another
was
world.
the last bit that I was doing for about the last 5 years now was with 7 Days Rest, which is how we met.
Yes, that's
so
how I met you.
within the metal scene. And someday I want to return probably to metal, although maybe get back into punk. I still love punk music.
You can't go wrong with it.
But lately been doing a lot of cinematic composition, and that's been for about the last
Like
2 or 3 years.
Orchestra.
Yeah,
type?
like
Okay.
a lot of MIDI, honestly, because it's how many instruments do I have, right? I mean, I try to record as much live as I can.
Right.
But if I can't record a live version of it, I just use some sort of MIDI thing. But a lot
Okay.
of world music and cinematic stuff. So for the podcast, right, most of what you're listening to, I've written.
I was curious about that.
So when you're listening to like Egyptian music, Celtic music, Roman, Greek, whatever,
That's
usually
you.
I'm composing it. I won't say always. Right, someone's gonna like sue me. Like, I definitely use royalty-free stuff. If it says
Smart.
royalty-free, I'm doing that sometimes. But as much as I can, I'm trying to put my own stuff out there because I
Right.
love being able to do like weird, world, ancient-sounding music. Like it's a different challenge.
Oh, I know because you're well, not that I have personal experience, but when you play with different instruments from a different country, it offers a different sound that could warp the music that you're
Oh,
making,
yeah.
and it's so much fun.
Yeah, I got a charango when I was on exchange in Peru for a semester. So it's
Charango.
sort of like, I would almost say somewhere between a guitar and a ukulele. It's a little bigger than a ukulele. It has an extra string.
So 5 strings, smaller than a guitar, bigger than a ukulele.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird instrument. It's a weird instrument.
Is the neck longer, or is it the same size as a guitar?
You know, if like a ukulele's about this big, I'd say the charango's about this big, right? Because then a guitar is like pretty big.
Right, because you have all that.
So I'd say it's
space.
closer in size to a ukulele than a guitar.
Okay.
But it's definitely bigger. It's a weird instrument. Look it up one of these days. Look it up. It's,
Yeah,
it's a weird instrument.
I usually have an iPad that I can look up stuff, but like I said, I was kind of lazy this week. Weird kind of last week actually. If you had a weird last week, I'm sorry. I'm there with you. Where were we? Oh yeah, the music. Yeah, the music that that you have been writing. Is there
I'm
any?
trying to get into I use the word cinematic, right? Because I haven't really done anything cinematic per se, but I'm trying
Okay.
to get into that. I want to be able to start making stuff because I have a production company that I've been working on for about the last year and a half.
Cool.
So I want to be able to start putting that into my own short films and then eventually like full-length films. Like
What's the name of your company?
it's called Garden Shed Productions. GSP.
I
So it's a podcast. That's the other podcast.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And I would say it's more like this one. It's more like we're just talking, we're chatting about whatever. Maybe we're doing an interview.
Mhm.
We'll review stuff.
This is supposed to be an interview, but it turned into like
we're chatting.
yeah, like with this feels like a Wednesday podcast. Which, by the way, if you are ever in town on a Wednesday at 8 p.m., we are here for Whose Tangent Is It Anyway, the #1 podcast in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Don't jujule it. Just take my word for it. But yeah, if you're ever here on Wednesday, let's check it out. But really quick, back into the interview portion of this, the music that you do, the cinematic. What was the other? What did you call it?
So world music,
World
cinematic?
music,
Yeah.
right? Is there any of that music that's available online that we can check out, or is it all just
Currently,
like private?
no. I mean,
It's all
well,
yours?
it is, but right, like it's been used and stuff. So you would find it such as on the podcast.
Okay.
I don't know if any of it's solo released right now. No.
Okay.
Maybe one of these days. I haven't really
Maybe.
wanted to do anything like as far as like Spotify and
Or YouTube,
Apple Music or anything.
Yeah. So you
Um,
don't have any music with like your vocals and your guitar playing and somebody else's drums. You don't have any music like that
if you
out?
want to find something like that, then you'd probably have to look up
Like the other bands
like
that you've
7
been
Days
in?
Rest or some of those other bands.
Got you. Okay.
Because like
okay.
those would. But as far as
Yeah.
like solo stuff, I have a lot of stuff written that I want to do stuff with.
Okay.
But I think one of these days I want to just wait until I have a full album to finally release it.
Fair enough.
And that probably won't be like the world music stuff. That might be its own stuff. I really think, legitimately for me, I don't really have as much of an interest of like, this is like music for the sake of music. It's more like it's doing something. It's for a movie. It's for a show. It's
Exactly.
for a podcast.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy that aspect. It's being able to kind of mesh two things together.
It gives an emotion to whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because when you were trying to explain it, I didn't understand it right away. But now that you explain it more, it's not the type of music where you like you download it. Oh, listen to this hit. It's more of like the background. Like it it brings
And
up
a lot of
whatever
people
you're
don't
doing.
think about that, right? Like a lot of people aren't thinking about like what goes into that, but there's some really great composers that are putting that
Yeah.
together. I mean, think about the score for some of the big movies, right? Like
Yes.
Star Wars, Jurassic Park. I mean, just some of these big blockbusters.
By the way, Jurassic Park, I just found out the other day. Well, I didn't find out. What am I trying to say? They use the same notes that they do in Harry Potter.
Oh, really?
And I was just like, wait. I know that tune.
That's interesting.
And it might not be Jurassic Park. Forgive me.
But there's a movie that's using another movie.
the same fucking notes. And like, it's the same person that directed the music for Harry Potter got the same notes from this. And I'm like, bro, they're way too like, close. What the fuck?
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I just want to. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, so the two podcasts that you have, one of them is specifically about coffee and
Well, history, because eventually I want it to
History
be
of coffee.
like a just greater with like whatever. Maybe it's ancient Greece or just like random topics in various parts of history. But right now, I figured I'd start with coffee. I was like, I have a lot of knowledge on that. Do something with it.
and then you said that you're slowly going into the beer realm, correct?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to do like a whole beer history podcast, but I made an episode.
Okay,
And I'm probably
Just
going to make
like-
another like 2 episodes. Just kind of like a little,
teaser.
yeah, basically.
Okay, I mean it'd be nice for you to do just so that you can have a feel of, do I enjoy this? Do I want to continue it? Does it bring me joy? Kind of thing. So it's really good that you're actually continuing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure,
really
for sure.
important because podcasts. I mean,
It's a lot of
much-
work.
It's, ugh,
It's a lot of work.
ugh. The more technology I have, the more work I realize that it is.
He has a really nice setup. I know you guys can't see it, but there's like a ring light, and he has like 2 like studio lights. Like it's a whole
so-
nice setup in
soft boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I want is some more headphone jacks because I have 8
here.
mics.
Oh, you got like a splitter right there for yeah.
I have one for 5 of them though, and if I use this, I can make 7, and I need one more for all 8
I
mics.
see.
God damn, I'm trying to make it
And
work.
it's expensive. These SM7Bs are not cheap.
This is that's
And
why I only have
that's
2.
something that I did not think about when I got into podcasting. I wasn't
The type
like,
of-
like how expensive is it going to be, right? And the next thing I know, well, Lord, I already did music production stuff, so like I already had some of the stuff, but just buying the SM7B alone's like $400. I'm like, if I didn't already have a mic stand and like a cable and an interface and stuff like that, I would have easily spent like maybe $600
Easy,
at least.
so easy.
And
I
then,
mean-
then you want your software to be able to record. I use Logic Pro.
I use GarageBand.
GarageBand works well.
It's good for now up until I get a little bit more fancier.
I only got Logic because of the world music stuff. I wanted the full library. Honestly,
Yeah.
GarageBand works fine.
But
know.
it doesn't offer everything that Logic Pro or
yeah,
what's that little orange pepper looking thing?
the which one?
It's like a little orange pepper with green leaves. It's like flora something.
I don't know. I know there's like Audacity and
I remember Audacity.
I feel like that's probably the other big one.
I can't remember. It's like on the tip of my tongue. I'm not going to be able to remember right now. Anyways, so with everything that we know about you already, what can we expect to see from you within the future? What surprises can we be expecting?
Probably a lot more focus within film stuff. I know I kind of texted you about that.
Right.
That's kind of where my focus has been leading. I mean, acting's always been there for me.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing guitar when I was 6. I also started acting when I was 6. And
Hey.
when I went to college, I was majoring in both for a long time.
Nice.
Ultimately, though, I've been finding for about, I don't know, maybe the last 2 or 3 years that I think film is what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to do theater. My degree is in theater acting. So I really thought theater is like it's the best. There's just not as much money in
Unfortunately.
theater. And not as much opportunity. Not as many people are going to go see theater. You know, I think it's an amazing art form. I still want to be able to do it. But I'm finding maybe I use film to financially fund my theater career.
So that you can actually have some money while you're out there.
Yeah.
You know, so your apartment is paid
and
while you're out there.
It's so easy. I think a lot of people don't realize how easy it is to get into film. Like, honestly, you just find like a group on Facebook or something, and you just see like some of the audition posts and stuff like that, and then you submit here or there, and then you know you might not get something every time.
Yeah.
But eventually you'll start getting stuff, and if they recognize you, you know they're gonna bring you back in. I just submitted to some agencies recently.
Mm-hmm.
Got some new headshots and a resume, put together a whole acting reel, and I filmed everything myself for the acting reel with that production company.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the next thing. I want to be able to release some of my own work. We haven't released those short films specifically. We do have vlogs, we have a whole podcast and everything, but we're hopefully going to be able to start doing more short films and maybe even a full-length film as time goes on. Had to go blow his nose again.
My God, I'm loud.
Sounded like a velociraptor.
That's the problem with being from Puerto Rico, and then things get dry, you know, because I know.
Oh man, and you're in Santa Fe. So
dry.
dry.
It kills me. And then one of my dogs, my mom, she has allergies, so we have to give a dog Benadryl because she gets rashes on her stomach.
Oh.
And I'm just like, Zimmy, you and me, like, I get it. Like, I gotta blow my nose every fucking 10 minutes.
Rip.
It
Yeah.
is seriously a pain in my ass. What was I getting into? This podcast is so chill, man. Usually I'm just like in a row, like, okay, I gotta ask this, ask that, and I'm just lost with you. I'm just like, where am I?
This is what I do on GSP though. I feel like I have a list of things, and then a lot of times it just ends up becoming conversation.
It just goes away. What is something that I have not asked you that you might want to talk about, that you might want to tell your audience?
What a great question. I don't know. Okay, let's see. I am really into Star Trek. I really like DC. Yeah, there you go. I grew up listening to a lot of like 80s hard rock. That was a big influence for me. Like 80s hair metal. Stuff like that.
Yeah, good shit. Shot through the heart, to wing. That's 80s, right?
Yes. Yeah. A bad name.
I
mean, that's a couple things. I don't know. It's off the top of the head.
Marvel or DC?
I like both, but
DC.
DC's my preferred. Marvel has a better cinematic universe, though. Like, you can't even compete at this point.
Why, though?
But it's like I also like Star Wars, right? But I'm also like, but at the end of the day, I like Star Trek better. Like, you can like both, but it's just like I have a favorite.
What is it about Star Trek that is so much better than... I mean, I don't know Star Trek. What is it about Star Trek that is better than Star Wars? Because Star Wars, you have lightsabers, you have the Force, you got electricity coming out of your
everything. It's
and
like
Star Trek,
it's like the best 3 hours of your life. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Star Trek, I like it because it's not about war, right? It's about like what's going on within relations. How can we be a better society? How can we work together? And they're coming up with a lot of technology that uses real science, and then we use it today. I mean, they had the tricorder, now we have the camcorder. they invented the cloak, we actually have the ability to cloak stuff in a small scale in a laboratory. We can do that though.
What do you mean cloak? Like
Cloak,
invisibility?
invisible. It makes it invisible.
I've seen people use shields. Like they just stand behind it and everything behind it just completely disappears.
Sort
That's
of,
just
but like
crazy.
being able to cloak the entire item. Again, you can only do it on a small scale in a laboratory setting, but they can
Right.
literally cloak an entire object 360. You know,
That's pretty badass.
or tractor beams. They just finally were able to move a particle without touching it, like it's literally being like tractor beamed in. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff right that Star Trek
pretty
kind of
badass.
came up with, and that people are like, oh, let's make this real science. Let's actually do it.
Sorry, I just realized that scratching a tattoo is not really the best thing to do. Which, by the way, I've been meaning to ask because I always like to ask about tattoos. I saw that and I've never actually looked at it.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Because
So,
it's sick as shit now
there-
that I look at it.
I wanted a solar system, right? I go to my tattoo artist and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, just like generic, like a little sun and like Mercury all the way up, right? And then I'm gonna have like maybe a little like asteroid belt. And then he's like, we can do that. That's fine. But let me show you what I came up with. And he had this fucking like skeleton, like holding all the planets and everything. And I was like, I can't say no to that. Like that's fucking sick. He's excited about it. And honestly,
And
I
it's
still
ori-
get
it's
my
original.
solar system.
Yeah, you get it. Do you have all the planets on that?
No, it's, let's see, we got Earth, we got Moon, we got Jupiter, Saturn, I think that's Uranus and Neptune. We're somehow missing Mars, and we don't have Mercury or Venus.
I was gonna say I didn't hear Venus in there. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always add it in the future.
Yeah, I was thinking that. But you know what? It's hard as an actor. Because this is, I can cover it. If I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, easily covered. This one, kind of same thing, right? Even a short sleeve shirt
What is that
covers
one?
it.
What's that one?
This one's a Minoan octopus.
That's cool.
So the Minoans were the first civilization in the West. So it was kind of like, you know, you had the Mesopotamians and Egyptians. They were the first one leading into like European Western society. Because
Okay.
Crete got conquered by Greece, by the Mycenaeans. You might think like the Trojan War, that sort of era.
Yeah.
And then kind of led way for all that. So what I want to do eventually is get a full sleeve, right? I want to maybe do something Egyptian, kind of leading into
Okay.
that, because they kind of influenced the Cretians, leading into Greeks, Romans, all that, all the way down.
Right. That's actually really cool. Are those the only two tattoos?
Yeah, again, as
For
an
now.
actor, it's hard.
Yeah, that's
You
like,
got like the metal musician side of me over here. That's like, I just want to be fucking tatted up. I want like neck tats, full
Oh.
sleeves. But then as an
I know.
actor, it's such a pain. Because
you need to be professional.
anytime I'm going in for an audition, it's a concern. I have to wear a long sleeve shirt so they don't see that I have tattoos. Once you get the role, then it's a concern. Do I have to do my own tattoo cover up? If it's theater, you do. If it's
Right.
film, they hire a makeup artist. And like they'll do it, but they kind of get pissy about it.
I mean,
And then it gets dry and cracky, and then you got to go get it redone. And
yeah. I was gonna say, but they didn't give The Rock too much shit. But then at the same time, he was already The Rock.
He's a bigger
so.
actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. With all the films that have come out already, let's say theoretically you can take out any actor out of that movie and put yourself. What film would that be?
Oh.
What character?
Wow, what a great question.
Just because it kind of goes into what kind of actor are you? Are you more of the emotional? Are you more of the witty girl catcher? Are you the mysterious type? Like, you know, like for example, you choose the Revenant because that character is just so so primal. You know what I mean? But I don't know if you would choose that because I don't know if that's the type of emotion that you go
I think
into.
for me, right, I haven't had my big break yet. So let's put
Not
it
yet.
that way. Like what would
Not yet.
what
I
I
like
want
that.
like as a big break, or like maybe like first big film. I'm thinking something like Deadpool. Like Ryan Reynolds. Like I would love to be able to do something
Okay.
like that, or even like when he was in Red Notice, you know, something like that.
I
'Cause
just saw
I
that. Yeah,
love that kind of character. That like witty,
But-
almost smartass kind of.
but he plays the same character
He
like
does.
in his
He
in,
does.
in all
But
the
that's
movies.
for me, right? That would just be one role, right? Ultimately, I want to be like a Johnny Depp. I want to be able to like play the
Oh
whole
my
array.
God, yeah,
You know what I mean? But I think that's somewhere to start. I think that would be.
yeah, that
good
is
starting
somewhere to
point.
start.
I find most of what I do. I had someone say this to me once, and I think it's the best way to explain it. Do you know what an ingenue is?
Ingenue.
Ingenue. It's like a really fancy, movie theater term. So an ingenue is typically a woman. Actually, I'm thinking exclusively a woman, so
Okay.
I would be a male ingenue in this case. But it's like young girl, like attractive, going out into the world, but doesn't really know, right? There's this innocence. You're kind of like learning it, finds love. Maybe there's a little bit of catastrophe along the way, but everything works out in the end. Like, that's the role I play. I play like a male ingenue. That's what I get cast in. Because I have that, like, charm that I'm told by a lot of directors or acting teachers. They're like, you're very charming. So I think that kind of leads into why I'm like this male ingenue.
Okay.
But I kind of want to be able to break away from that, right? So when I was still at UNM, one of the last things I did before COVID shut everything down was Heather's the Musical. I got to play one of the jocks. Like, I'm a bully. Like, I'm literally bullying.
You don't look
one
like
of
the
main
bully
characters.
type, though.
Exactly.
No. You do look like a quarterback, though. Let's be honest.
See, there.
Blue Mountain State. He looks like a Blue Mountain State dude.
Oh, God, that's...
Yes, you do. I can already see you with the pads being like...
Oh, God. So that's what I did recently. One of the short films I made was me bullying this guy. And not just, like, casually bullying, like, very aggressively. You're like, whoa, like, this guy's gonna, like, hurt him bullying. Because I really wanted to be able to kind of play that other extreme, right? Or another short film I did, it was very dramatic. So I find myself in more... Because even angry or upset or mean, right? That's kind of like drama, right?
Yeah.
So I did another drama, and that one was... I, like, come home. I know my wife's, like, been cheating on me, and I'm about to confront her. Like, I'm going to tell this bitch, like, I know what you did.
Damn.
I'm leaving you. And as I open the bathroom door, I find her dead. Like, she OD'd. And she is in the bathtub
Out
dead.
of guilt?
I don't know, right? Because I didn't write the script. But I was like, wow. Like, what a big emotional scene.
Right.
So I come in upset, right? Like, she's dead. But I'm holding this pill bottle, and I'm like, Caroline, I can't believe you would do this. Like, you're such a fucking idiot. Like, oh, this, and that. And, like, I hadn't even gotten into the cheating yet, right? And I'm like, Caroline, you even listening to me, right? Like, slams down the bottle, still, like, yelling at her. And I'm like, Caroline, come on, fucking listen to me. Like, talk to me. What the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm still not even processing that she's dead. And then it's like this switch of like, well, you're dead? Well, fuck you. Like, yeah, you should be fucking dead. Like, you're such a piece of shit. And then it's kind of this shift into like, wait, like, what am I saying? Like, no, like, she's dead. And I'm on the verge of tears. Like, I'm breaking down. Like, yeah, she cheated on me, but I love this woman. And then by the end, it's like you pull yourself kind of back and you're like, you know, like, this sucks, but I'm not even going to cry over you. I'm not even going to cry over you. And that's like the end. I know. I'll let you know when we publish it. I was
gonna say, where can I find this? Can I Google it? Can I YouTube it?
It'll be on Garden Shed Productions on GSP. Once we start releasing those. But yeah, so drama is what I find myself doing a lot of.
Cool.
But I want to be able to kind of do more comedy. That's why I kind of mentioned something like a Ryan Reynolds type character.
I can see you do it, honestly.
Because I have a lot of my friends are like, you're fucking funny. Like, you never do comedy, though. I'm like, that's not what I get cast in. People don't cast me as, like, the funny guy. They cast me as, like, the male ingenue or the, like, sad or... Now I'm trying to push I can also be aggressive, maybe. Like, there's, these sides.
But your face doesn't say aggressive.
I know.
If I can be honest, your face says more of like the Matthew McConaughey gets the girl.
Yeah.
Like Failure to Launch. I can see you in that movie. I just saw it the other day. Actually, it's a good movie. But that'd be crazy. Really quick, guys, I do want to tell everybody. Instagram is only allowing me to record for an hour because of the fact that it is a new account. So on Instagram, this podcast will end in the next like 5 minutes or so. If you guys do want to continue listening, you guys can go onto any podcast platform, T-Talks and Talks Local, or you can go onto YouTube and listen to the rest of the conversation. I don't imagine it to be very long, but to be honest, like I got a couple more questions, so let's see. So Instagram is going to stop recording. I'm going to keep recording audio, and then I'm going to put it in on YouTube, like with some pictures and stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So just fair warning.
I could even send you some clips. I could send you some of the clips I was talking about.
Can you?
Yeah, I could totally.
Yeah, dude. Oh my. If you
It
do,
won't be a finished product, but I can send you some clips.
know that. So while we're talking, like when this ends and it's just the audio, I can put like a couple of little clips of you.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be really interesting, so people can get like a little bit of a better picture. So that one role that you were explaining, amazing. By the way, I can't wait to hear about it. I want to hear about the other roles that you've been in. What about the first one? What was your first role? Yeah.
Oh man,
That was in theater, correct?
yeah, a lot of theater. I was certainly in elementary school. So if we're not
Yeah,
even
good
counting
times.
like what I probably did as like a little class play or like something like that in elementary school, I think the first time I did community theater was Little Make Believe Theater. It's a place in Rio Rancho, which leads into Make Believe Theater. And no, it's not Make Believe. I know you're probably thinking, Aris, you're making this up.
No.
We did like so long ago, King Arthur and the Knights of the Rad Table, is I believe what it was called. And then from there, I mean, I kind of just kept doing plays through their production every year because I want to say they did one a year, maybe they did two a year. Ended up doing an assortment of ones. I know like one we did was like it wasn't called Wipeout, like that's the song, but it's that kind of like surfer vibe. We did, God, I don't know, so many, but it was like musical theater. But kid musical theater is terrible. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's like a bunch of kids that don't know what they're doing, and there's no actual musician playing. They're just playing a backtrack. Like it's just it was awful.
I know.
It's the whole
I know.
thing.
I have my own memories. Good memories. Weird memories. Very weird.
Then got to high school, and at that point I was like, why am I still doing this like weird community theater when I could like do actual theater at my high school? So I went to Rio Rancho High School, started doing theater there, and eventually I was like, I guess I'll go to college and do this. So I think as far as the biggest thing I've done for theater would be the New Mexico Shakespeare Festival. And that is not something I ever thought I'd do. I honestly was not a Shakespeare fan.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in high school, like, ugh, we have to read Shakespeare. And it was my junior year, my English teacher, something about it. I was like, okay, Shakespeare's kind of cool. I still didn't want to act in it. I was like, I could appreciate it from a distance.
Right.
And then I got to college, and it was like, okay, let's do some classical theater. Not just Shakespeare, but classical. And I was like, okay, like the Greeks and the Romans are doing some stuff. Oh, there's Shakespeare again. You had a little bit of like restoration or whatever.
Right.
Finally, though, I get to UNM. And this is one of the things I am grateful for about a university closing down. I guess as much as you can be grateful for that. UNM led me to work with Shepard Sobel, which is a phenomenal acting instructor. I think retired now. But he owned his own theater production out in like New York, and he moved over here. I mean, just like years of experience, years and years of experience. And he cast me as the male lead in As You Like It, as a male ingenue, of all characters.
Right.
And I ended up taking his Shakespeare acting class. He was teaching like an advanced acting class. I didn't have to take it, but I was like, well, I mean, I might as well if I'm gonna be in the production as one of the main characters.
Right.
So, God, literally day one was like 2 massive dictionaries and then like a handful of like classical English dictionaries and Shakespearean dictionaries. And literally the whole semester was like, let's dissect some work.
Right.
Right. And it was like, whoa, like you break down what he's saying word for word. Not even like, let's go through a paragraph and kind of sum it up. Literally, like, what does that sentence say? I don't know that word. Okay, let's pull out a dictionary. Let's look it up. Right? But then it was also like the acting aspect, not just like the English major, not just what does it say. Then it's how do you portray that? Right?
Yeah,
He'd be like,
yeah,
you get to highlight 5 words in this whole monologue, and those are the most important points. Like if I were to scratch everything else out, could you still convey your information? And that is like your normal talking voice, right? Everything else is higher or lower, and it's kind of varying within degrees. So it might be a little higher and then a little bit more higher, but then really low, and then you're going back to your main point. And it's also about like your cutoffs and how you kind of start in. Are you trying to rhyme stuff? Do you want to skip over the rhyme? If you have another actor, maybe there's a continuation, because maybe you're talking about one thing, but then they're contrasting it. So it's being able to work off of all that stuff. And I found when I was working with him, it just taught me how to work with variety. Variety is on the wall is what they would say when I was going to Sephora over here.
On the wall.
and I didn't really know how to get a lot of variety. I started working with Meisner. It's a acting method. With Holly Adams, great teacher if you're wanting to learn Meisner, where you basically focus on the other person. That taught me variety, and then I found like Shakespearean acting really did. Because sometimes, like, so in As You Like It, if I give you just a real brief synopsis, basically, this girl is like the daughter of the Duke or something, and then like the Duke gets like exiled. So then it's like, well, we got to kind of get rid of the girl because she's kind of, part of that family line. I don't think she would be able to take the throne because she's a girl, but whatever the issue is, they want to just basically get rid of that altogether. So she flees, comes across my character, Orlando, and they kind of like almost fall in love, but then it's like she has to be a guy. So then it's funny because if you think about it in Shakespearean terms, right? Because all actors would have been guys. So you have a guy playing a girl, playing a guy, then playing a girl, because then as they start becoming friends, because they're buddies, right? They're buddies. Yeah. Now it's not a girl. Now it's his buddy, right? And then he's like, hey, let me help you with Rosalind. Like, let me teach you how to like talk to a girl. So then it's like this real, like a guy playing a girl, playing a guy, playing a girl. And you're like, what? Only in Shakespeare. I know.
Yeah. I know, because he has so many twists and turns.
Oh, I know. He does.
Fucking hell.
So ultimately, though.
No, I was just going to say, by the way, I'm on the couch because we stopped recording.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's
there's
cool.
no point for me
here.
to sit over here. By the way, guys.
Closer, then. I don't have to move.
Oh, yeah. You can always do that. So, by the way, guys, if you were watching on Instagram, of course, you would find out that we stopped recording because Instagram only lets me do an hour.
Lame.
Fucking lame.
Okay, so let's see. Speed up version. Let's see. So they're out in the forest. Eventually, it all kind of comes together and works out because the Duke kind of shows up and he's like, oh, I'm going to get you. And then it's like, oh, no, your dad's back or whatever. Okay, right? Into the play. So did Orlando ever figure out that Rosalind was pretending to be a guy? Or does he not know until finally the big reveal comes off and it's like, haha, this whole time I've been Rosalind. Right?
Isn't this a movie?
And then it's also sort of a question of, is he falling in love with a guy? Or is he, no, it's a girl and he's like, oh, I see through your trick. Like, I know you're not this dude you're pretending to be. Like, you're obviously Rosalind and you're falling in love with her, right? So which is it? Is he falling in love with Rosalind? Or is he falling in love with Rosalind as a guy and he doesn't even know? And each night it would kind of vary. Some nights I figured it out and that changed my acting. Some nights I didn't figure it out. So is he gay now? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. There's a lot of gay stuff going on within Shakespeare if you really analyze it anyway, so that's a potential.
That's crazy. That they did make that into a film, didn't they? Where females weren't allowed to be in the play, but a woman pretended to be a guy.
That's definitely probably a couple. What, that's Shakespeare in Love? Did they do that? I don't know.
Like she had a mustache and she had to like squeeze down her boobs. And then
that probably happened in a movie. I'm sure. Yeah. I don't know which one specifically, but it definitely did happen. So I'm sure they would be doing it because it'd be any woman in any Shakespearean play or any play from that era, in the Elizabethan era.
Elizabethan?
Is Elizabethan?
Elizabethan.
Because Queen Elizabeth.
Oh my God! I haven't heard that word since like the sophomore year in high school.
It's like you're bringing back history.
No, really, because we did and I doubt this is one of Shakespeare's, but Robin Goodfellow, where we had to like use the same type of language. Anyways, whatever. We went into it pretty well, and in film class we watched Romeo and Juliet, like the first one, where we saw Juliet's boobs. That was awesome. So awesome. Good times.
Romeo and Juliet is just not my favorite.
No,
I feel
don't
like
blame you.
So overdone. God, it's so overdone.
Well, what, Leonardo DiCaprio did a version.
Well, then they do like these modern takes on it, right? Where it's like the West Side Story version of it, and then it's like
you have
Romeo and Juliet, and
oh God, I never watched that one.
And there's like some modern adaptations. Yeah, there's so many. You can find them all out there.
God damn. So my last question for you: if you're not acting, if you're not podcasting, if you're not doing music, if you're not teaching, which I know is not one of the biggest ones, in an alternate universe, what are you doing? If you didn't choose those,
Nothing, because that's literally all I do.
that's fair.
I don't know. I mean, I think
It's like what other talents do you have?
I
Would you
wanna
be playing
say
basketball?
Something potentially creative or artistic in some way. I mean,
You would be a web designer.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's such a hard question, but I know like I'd have to be doing something creative, and there would have to be some sort of outlet for that art. I just don't know what that would look like because nothing else really interests me per se.
That's
But it is
fine.
an alternative life, right? I didn't do those. I don't know.
Yeah, because you have like different.
I did like sports growing up, though. So if you're talking about that, like I played basketball, I played soccer, but I was always like, I don't like running. Like I don't want to do this. This isn't fun.
I
And
don't
now doing
blame you.
martial arts, like I fucking hate it. I don't know why I work out and do martial arts, but you know, like I feel like whatever it would be, unless I was just genetically different, I wouldn't be doing anything super athletic for like a full-time career path in life.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think the same when I ask it, and I'm just like, I have no idea. Music is all I know. It's the only thing that makes me happy, takes me away from reality.
Oh yeah, when I'm upset, you know, I'm in the car, I'm just listening to like whatever music, and I have different songs. I feel like depending on like what kind of emotion, like is it more stress, is it more anxiety, is it more like sad, angry?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the name Satan coming up on the screen in concerts for Sam Smith and Travis Scott and all these
Oh, I
other
haven't
artists?
heard about this.
No?
I don't know.
It's crazy, dude.
Really?
And I'm just like, at metal shows, we don't see this. Like, we're fucking hardcore fuckers.
And we almost
And
wouldn't
we're not-
care. You know what I mean?
But we're not the type to be like, oh, Satan. But it's the clean vocals and the pop artists that are
interesting.
all about Satan and shit.
Yeah.
I just saw Sam Smith perform.
Because I definitely feel like you see not all metal, right? But you see some and they got like a pentagram and they like going for that. Like, kind of stuff. Not all
But
of
even
them.
but
some,
even
but
then,
yeah,
like their
even then,
personality
you know
just
that they're not actually like a devil worshiper or something like that. I don't even want to say Satanist because that's the misuse of the word. A Satanist, I've heard of great people. Do you know about Satanism?
I like to believe I do, but
No,
I
now
probably,
we're getting into the religion talk. Okay, so
I don't
Satanism.
mind. I mean, dude,
As a
like,
brief,
as you can see,
yeah,
well, that and check this out. I've been sick twice since I got it.
Oh, he showed me his tattoo. This is a nice tattoo.
It's the sigil of
I would
Lucifer.
have not seen that.
Because of the hair. Yeah,
But you haven't heard of the Satanic Church?
yeah, I have.
So it's like they're like supposed to be like really nice, good people, right? Like their like overall tenets or like I don't know commandments. The equivalent for them would be like being nice to other people, helping the community, and stuff like that.
Like,
And the reason they call it Satanism isn't anything about worshiping the devil. It's about breaking off from or how Lucifer broke off from God and became his own god. He like self-deified, and it's about that. It's about believing that you are your own deity.
right, okay. But
I haven't like really studied it. I had a friend that was a Satanist when I was in college, though. And he kind of explained it to me. I was like, okay.
well,
that's interesting.
Satan, Lucifer was sent down to his own world because Lucifer was jealous of God's power, and he wanted him to share some of that.
You're jealous of man, right? Because he started giving a lot of attention to mankind.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
so
Christian either, so I'm like.
What would you declare to be anything specific?
I do new agey stuff. I do shamanism.
Buddhism?
I
like the
like
oldest-
Buddhism. I would say Taoism would be a little bit more closer.
I haven't heard
Because I've
Taoism.
studied a lot of Buddhism. I've practiced a little bit more Taoism personally, though. And like I'm also a Reiki master, so I do like energy work.
That's sick.
I do a lot of psychic readings. I love doing psychic readings. I actually have my own company. It's probably not something I've ever mentioned to you.
No,
So I do
tell me.
like palmistry and tarot, and I don't read
With
coffee grounds professionally, but that's how you would read coffee grounds, Cassiography. So I have a podcast where I did that though. I did Cassiography. So yeah, just doing readings and stuff like that, and doing
That's
energy
awesome.
work.
And now
And that's not like what I want to do in life, right? That's not my career.
Right.
But like that's some decent side money. I have people like hit me up and they want like an appointment here or there, and
I mean, hey, $30, $40,
yeah.
just to do a little bit of reading. That's really interesting. What's the name of the?
That's
Is that
called All in the Hands. So it is an LLC. I actually own my own business and everything. It's called All in the Hands. We're on social media. I don't have a website though.
not yet?
I found I haven't really needed to. Most people are
Well,
gonna find
yeah.
you on Instagram or Facebook or what have you.
Which, by the way, talking about Instagram, I wanted to talk about this before Instagram cut off, but you were on such a tangent. I did not want to disturb. Where can we find you on social media? What are your plugs? Where can we find you? Where can we follow you to see the newest
Yes.
of what you're going to be putting out?
I would say probably Instagram is the best one to follow me on for probably most of my stuff. I do have stuff on Facebook too. But just Aris Zaffer, if you look me up, I think Zafferis is like my last name mixed with my first name is the exact handle. But if you look up Aris Zaffer, there's not many Aris Zaffers in the world. So
I've never met one. What did I call you the first time? I called you.
I don't know.
I was like, nah. And
I
you
don't
were just
remember.
looking away. I'm like, I'm calling you. Oh, your name is Aris.
You probably called me like Aris or something. I
Rob-
get that a lot. I don't
Oh
know.
my-
I
I
almost
probably
learned
said
to
Aris.
respond. I almost have learned in my life to respond to like Eric and Aris and Aria and like I don't know.
Anything that
It
starts
comes
with
up.
the air,
Yeah.
R.
Yeah.
So really quick, I was actually curious. Zaffer, what's that? Deranged.
Oh, it's Greek. So is my first name.
Greek.
So Aris, you can think like Aristophanes, Aristotle. So it's Greek for
Yeah.
best. I also was recently reading. I think it was also like destruction. It's sort of related to Ares. So it's not.
Ha.
It's not like the Greek god Ares. But it is sort of derived from that same vein. So it's either
Right.
Ares is either like the best thing to come into your life, or he's gonna destroy everything. So it's like one of the two, right? Like
It's 50-50. You don't get both.
yeah.
You're either fucked or you're blessed.
And then Zaffer is also Greek. That is short for like Zafferlopolis, which is like a textile. It's like a blue textile worker or something like that.
What is it again?
Zafferlopolis.
Zafferlopolis.
I think I'm saying it right. Don't you? My mom's saying it wrong. I don't know. It's not actually related to my family though.
Okay.
That's a whole other backstory as to how that became my dad's last name, but it is not related by blood. So it is interesting though that I have a Greek first and last name.
Fair.
Very
I actually
German.
Really like that.
I think I'm like massively German.
I mean, it would be nice if you had a little bit more of the German features. But
I hear I have a lot of like the Roman nose, and
Yes,
people
you
probably
do.
think I am Greek. They're probably like, there's some Greek in there. I don't know.
the nose definitely, because
Yeah.
while you're looking over there, I'm like looking at your nose
Like,
because
okay.
I'll admit something. I love girls with his nose. By the way, if you haven't seen his nose, go to his Instagram. Look at his nose.
There you go. Oh, let me mention just real quick.
Yeah.
So
While you do that, I'm gonna blow my nose
Yeah,
for
no,
the
you're
fourth
good.
time.
you're good. You need some Mucinex.
Dude, I took some already.
Oh no.
my
Claritin
body's
Clear.
no.
So let's see. If you also go on Instagram, you can find All in the Hands, which is my energy work in psychic readings. And then you can also look for either my podcasts. There's GSP. You can find that on there, or you can go ahead and look up the Complete History podcast series. So either of those would be on Instagram or on YouTube.
Nice. Oh wait, I forgot the headphones.
Now he can't hear himself. He's like,
I know.
still
I'm
making
so
sound.
unprofessional. I see all these other podcasters without them, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, no, I don't use headphones when I record.
no.
No,
That-
I just hope for the best.
I kind of figured that when you said, should I put these on?" I'm like, if you want to, you totally can.
No, do you not do that?
Oh, hi. Oh, I was not expecting that.
Well, we can rap if you want.
Huh? Yes, because it only lets me do an hour, unfortunately. Sorry guys, my girl just got here. Well,
Unless you had anything else, like I'm good.
I'm trying to think, man.
I want to have you on my podcast though. I want to have you on GSP.
with the wine.
well, no, for GSP.
No, GSP. Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
have you on a wine episode whenever I do one of those. So that'll be the
Okay.
history one. But as far as GSP, I would love to have you come on and we can basically do the opposite of what we're doing. I'll be the one interviewing you, and then we can get off on tangents.
I don't know how I feel about that. I've never had someone interview me. I don't know how to be
Really?
interviewed. I feel like I would probably like just go blank. I'm totally lying. I'll probably
I
like
think
go
you'd
off
do
on
great,
you.
actually. I think you'd be fine. Look at our natural conversation. Even if
Yes.
that's what it turned into.
Ever since
So
the
I'll have you-
beginning.
I'll have you come on.
Okay,
We'll
okay.
Probably like here in the next couple of weeks. We can schedule it like you did with me. We'll figure it out.
Okay, yeah, let me know. And again, if you ever want to come by on a Wednesday for the Whose Tangent Is It Anyway? Have you ever watched Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I have.
Okay,
I love,
so you
I
get
thought
it.
was a good show.
You get it. Yeah, I kind of got it because I was like, I want to do Tangent because Taylor Toxin, of course.
Oh, yeah,
And I was just like, what can I do with a T that is like well known and also catchy? But I mean, it's kind of long, but it still kind of makes sense. Whose Tangent Is It Anyway? So really quick, we did do the shout outs for all your plugs. The History of Coffee, the SGF?
GSP.
GSP.
Garden Shed Productions is what it is.
Garden
Because
Shed
we do
Production.
everything out of a garden shed.
Literally.
Yeah, literally out of a garden shed.
I mean,
then,
you got to start. Apple started in a fucking garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
Maybe
you're doing exactly
we'll
the
be
same
like
thing.
Apple one of these days. And then All in the Hands. That's the Energy Works psychic.
That's
work.
right, but you don't have a website for it. It's just like
No.
personal.
Yeah.
Hit me up on Instagram type of thing.
Well, I mentioned it while you were blowing your nose. It's I have a page for it for Facebook and Instagram and probably Twitter. I don't know.
Okay.
If you look it up, All in the Hands, it'll be there.
All right, check them out, guys. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in on the podcast. I will be seeing you next Monday with Jack the Rapper. That's not his name. His name is Jack. I don't know what else he goes by, but we'll definitely get into a conversation about that. I have to confirm with him. But yeah, dude, that's it. Thank you for tuning. Oh, thank you for the coffee. Thank you for the cider.
Well,
I'm
thank you
actually
for
going to be
having me on.
finishing that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you finally came.
If you're ever in town, I will get you some.
I actually would like another one, to be honest. That really was good. Where was it that you work again?
Tractor Brewery.
Got it. So if you guys want to see him
Live in action.
live and in action, go check him out. Go flirt with him a little bit because his girlfriend's in Thailand. So she. I didn't tell you to do it, okay? Seriously. And if she kicks your ass, don't blame me for it. Okay, come on, computer. I gotta stop recording now. Anything else?
No.
All right. Bye.